All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And in this one, I am making this video specifically because I want you to learn from my mistake that I actually made last year. So some of you guys might be wondering exactly what I mean, or some of you guys that are already reading between the lines might have an idea or might know exactly where I'm going to be going with this. But first, I want to start off by saying that, especially since later on today, the beta is going to be released for the players that are on the PC and Xbox side as well. And then, of course, you got your PlayStation guys that are going to be back this week as well. Granted, it's only for pre-orders, and then a couple of days later, you've got the open beta for people that haven't pre-ordered. So, I actually want you to play the Modern Warfare 2 beta. Now, some of you guys might be asking why that is exactly, and I'm going to explain it to you. I want you guys to play the Modern Warfare 2 beta because last year I did not play the Vanguard beta. As a matter of fact, I wanted to go into Vanguard without having played like any of it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go into this Call of Duty without playing it at all, so that way it increases my chances of enjoying it. And now recently, in one of my most recent videos, I did a video talking about my Call of Duty multiplayer games tier list, which, surprise, surprise, I have never done one of those before. And there's a very good reason why Vanguard got the grade that it did. Okay, which I put it in the lowest grade because the thing is, I assumed, without playing the game, without trying the beta, I assumed that I would at least play the game as much as Black Ops Cold War, or maybe a little less, maybe a little more, you never know. I was assuming that I would at least come back to play that game periodically throughout the year, or maybe even grind every once in a while when that game was out. Because it was rusher friendly, they had a dead silence perk or a ninja perk or whatever, and it was rusher friendly, which is pretty much the opposite of what the current Modern Warfare 2 is. And for the first time in playing Call of Duty ever, despite the fact that you can run around in Call of Duty Vanguard, there was nothing after the game came out that kept me coming back. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that I disliked about that game was the map design. Wasn't a big fan of it. And right off the bat, when the game came out, which was when I first played it, one of the first things I wished to myself and wished that I did was play the beta. So that way I would at least save myself $70. Now, again, it's not like it broke my bank account or anything. It's not like it's not like bills are not being paid because I spent $70 freaking dollars on a video game that I regret spending that money on. I'm just saying, very simply put, that number one, it would save you $70, and you can easily spend that $70 on something else that you like, or even another game that you like, or whatever the deal is. But the thing is, ultimately, at the end of the day, I kind of gambled and I lost because, and the thing is with Call of Duty, you can't really gamble with it anymore. And the thing is, the ultimate way to see if it's a game that you're at least going to be able to like to a certain degree, or for whatever reason. I mentioned in one of my previous videos, time and time again, that there's usually something that keeps you coming back to a specific type of game, right? There's something about any particular video game that you play, whether it's a shooter or not, that keeps you coming back to play that game because there are there's just something about it that just feels good to you, whether it's the gameplay, maybe the game looks good, or sounds good, or a combination of things. Maybe you like the gunplay, maybe you like a specific type of weapon that just feels good when you shoot it and when you play it, or whatever it is. Or if you take another game outside the genre, for example, like Elden Ring, you like the challenge. Maybe you enjoy the challenge. Maybe you enjoy the fact that you get to explore and you get to see, ooh, what's here? I'd never been here before, or something like that, right? Just to name a couple of examples. But the thing is, you have the opportunity to find out before you even spent a dime on the game, at least in a few days from now, at least, because right now it's going to be the closed beta, and then after that it's going to be the open beta. So when the open beta comes out, for those of you guys that haven't pre-ordered, and I guess I'm assuming you can still cancel your pre-order for those of you guys that have pre-ordered. So learn from my mistake. And unless you've already made your decision to not get it, right? Because you've seen enough, like myself, and there really is no need. But just to double check, or whatever the deal is, make sure you play it and judge the game for yourself. Because sometimes, just like what happened to me with Vanguard, you can still be a camper, for instance, or you might enjoy the slower play style, and there's still a chance that you might not like that game. There's still a chance that you might not like Modern Warfare 2. So with me, I didn't like Vanguard, despite the fact that you can run around and rush everywhere. See, the thing is with Call of Duty, and I've mentioned this again in one of my previous videos, is very similar to a pizza, and I like comparing it to food because food is actually really simple, and it doesn't really have to be complicated in order to be good, right? Not everything requires the Gordon Ramsay type of recipe, so to speak, right? And on top of that, even if you watch his stuff, if you watch Gordon Ramsay's episodes when he's cooking stuff, it's actually not too complicated, at least not all of it. But a lot, especially whenever he does his simple recipes, it's like boom, right there, and it could still be, a chef's kiss type of meal, masterful, really tasty and everything. Call of Duty is just like that, and I compare it to pizza most of the time, It's very easy to ruin the entire thing when you put one thing in there that does not belong, like skill-based matchmaking, for instance. But with some people, they like the gameplay and they just grind their teeth and they're like, yeah, I'll deal with the skill-based matchmaking, but I like pretty much everything else, or mostly everything else about the game. So ultimately, at the end of the day, regardless of what player you are, you're going to have to give it a shot for yourself and to see whether or not you like it, and then base your decision off of your experience with that. And remember, guys, this is not just a beta. This is actually a demo. This is a really good example of what we're going to get come release. Except come release, it's the full game. It's the full battle pass. You get access to all the weapons and all the attachments and all the perks and stuff like that. But regardless of that, the core fundamentals of the game are still there. It's still going to be the same. All the core fundamentals in terms of how the game looks, how the game plays, and all that kind of stuff, especially since Infinity Ward has already announced that they're not going to change a few things that I mentioned in my last video, and you guys already know what that is, and I'm just going to quickly say it. They're not going to change the minimap at all. They're not going to change the time to kill. They've already mentioned that they're very much catering to people that are not moving. They don't want people moving too much because, it's like, you know what I mean? So, so we need to basically remember that in order for us to fully know and understand and to make the decision for ourselves, get the game in your hands, play it, and see if it's for you. And hopefully you will find out and learn from my mistake, because that's what I did last year with Vanguard. I regretted it. I hoped it would be better, but it obviously wasn't. It was very, very stale. And a lot of people thought Black Ops Cold War was stale. Well, for me, Vanguard was stale. I mean, with Black Ops Cold War, for me, at least the gunfights were satisfying because the health was a little bit higher. I mean, despite the fact that the game had other problems as well, but the gunplay was at least satisfying on the console end. On the PC side of things, not as much, because there was some sort of hit registration issue on the PC version, so that sucks. But yeah, it's just give the game a shot. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Simple as that, and learn from my mistake. So it's that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. I really do want you guys to take advantage of that, and just even if you like unless you're like me and you already made your decision, it's like you're not even going to waste your time, because Infinity Ward is not going to waste their time and to change the game for the better. It's like, okay, in Modern Warfare 2019, guys, I kind of made a similar mistake. Like, it's like I appreciated the engine, I appreciated the the graphics. I didn't fully appreciate a whole bunch of other things, but I saw potential in Modern Warfare 2019, because Modern Warfare 2019, you can't deny that game had a lot of potential, right? To really get to heights to where Call of Duty hasn't been in a long time. And the reason why I purchased that game was because I was very much expecting things to change for the better. I was expecting Infinity Ward to change, like I thought that they were actually going to add Dead Silence as a perk. I legitimately thought that could happen. And I thought other aspects of the game would have been changed for the better as well. But unfortunately, those things just never happened. I know that for the Rusher, I know that Ground War was the thing, and I totally get that. And I'd probably say Ground War was probably the most enjoyable aspect of Modern Warfare 2019. If you're the kind of person that enjoys the more arcadey side of Call of Duty. But even then, to me, it still wasn't fully Call of Duty because of, it was very Battlefield-ish like, and I mean no disrespect to Battlefield when I say this at all. It's just that type of pacing of gameplay should have been viable in smaller maps as well. And because of how the system around everything had worked and the design decisions that they made in terms of how they wanted people to play is what killed it. And the only way you could play the way to that extent was when you played Ground War. And one of the reasons was because skill-based matchmaking it was either not a thing in Ground War or it wasn't as strict. So those are my thoughts on that. I think a lot of players might be holding on to hope that Ground War might be very similar again in Modern Warfare 2022, but sometimes you really just never know in terms of what direction they're going to take the game. So it's something that you always have to bear in mind. So keep that in mind. And if you want to, and if you're not sure, or if you want to just see how bad or how it might be, because for some people it's like, hey, this might not be bad at all for them. It might be a mixed bag, but at the same time, it might be enough for them to buy the game. So whichever type of player you are, and you're curious about Modern Warfare 2, or Modern Warfare the second, whichever or whatever you want to call it, play the game, play the beta, and see for yourself. From experience. Go in with a clear mind, as if you've never seen a video before, talking about everything, go in with a clear mind and experience the game's positives and negatives for yourself. Because for instance, if you're a search and destroy player, right? If that's all you play is search and destroy, then the game might be a big hit for you. Modern Warfare 2019, in terms of search and destroy, was very popular with the community. And this includes the casuals as well. So, again, all it takes is that one aspect of a game on whether or not it's worth a purchase for you. At least one, if you're that type of player. For some people require more, some people require less. But play the beta and find out for yourself what works and what doesn't, and whether or not it's worth your purchase. So anyway, guys, that's all I got. Let me know down in the comment section what you think. Have you ever made any mistakes with Call of Duty like I have? Because I certainly have, and I hope those of you guys that have watched this video will take my humble advice to heart, because if the game really doesn't deserve your purchase, and if you end up disappointed, it's like, it sucks, man. And the thing is, I should have even requested a refund or something like that early on, but sometimes you just hope things will change, and then they never do. And it's like, if I request a refund now, it's probably going to be too late. So, but yeah. So instead of messing with that, might as well just play the beta. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.